The second area for bottlenecks is when there is a change to the existing environment, and that is that we could have I/O issues where you could have organic growth and table sizes that slowly creep up and will take a mild-mannered SQL and turn it into a raving maniacal SQL with teeth. In this case, this might be a scenario where it's time to add an index. You can also have memory increases, such that an increase in one area eats up the buffer space for another application. You can usually see this in DB2 where you've got a single instance with multiple applications. The last one, CPU issues. This rarely happens, but usually happens, though, when it does, due to politics or lack of metrics. This is the case where you might have a server which is overloaded with instances. The third area is what is referred to as the Dba Misstep. And these are factors that can also cause bottlenecks, and it is just due to the fact that we are not really watching over the system as well as we could. For example, a failure to do regular run stats, or perhaps a failure to track the volatile tables that are in the system. A failure to do regular maintenance, such as doing reorgs on the highly used objects. And of course, it could also be inappropriate system settings. And this is a case where the homework has to be done before putting in the application into the system. Other things that could also happen here is not setting adequate timeout limitations on threads. I'll give you a scenario for this one. This is, let's say it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, time for the end users to go home. They grab their car keys and they run out the door, but they forget to log off. A rather absurd response I've seen to this is that I've seen cron jobs put in that would bounce the instance to be able to clear out these threads or these non-timing out threads. But I've also seen it where they have we've had server failover due to the fact that when the instance was bounced, that the heartbeat indicated that it looked like the instance went down, so it went into a failover condition. Another area would be the commit frequency. And this is coming back again to the idea of that if you do not commit frequent enough in the application, that it can cause deadlocks, but you can also have things such as lock escalations and so on. So it's clearly another area. There could be issues with the buffer pool, and this is a case where we don't have adequate sizing on the buffer pool. We could have page cleaners and buffer pool issues, size issues, and so on. SQL usage and issues that can also be lock escalations. In terms of heap sizes pertaining to the lock pool, we might not be able to get a lock. There could also be SQL slowdown. Not having a buffer pool strategy will also create some issues within this sort of misstep, because it's pretty much a known fact that if you can't split up the work in the buffer pools, you're going to reduce the contention. So in summary, on performance policies and politics, it is possible to performance tune ad infinitum and ad nauseum. I usually tell DBAs, don't do that. That is kind of a waste of time. It is far better if you tune to the level of what your end users and you, as well as your company, can live with. And you do this by way of meeting your service level agreements and service level objectives. And of course, the last two guidelines to always remember about performance tuning. The limit of tuning is ultimately a bottleneck by definition. So when somebody says that, gee, I'm bottlenecked by CPU or I/O or memory, ultimately you go as far as you can to make the system perform as well as it can. So that leads to the second tenet, which is the fact that performance management is the art of juggling with what you can live with. The picture depicted here may not have much meaning anymore. It's a little bit old, perhaps a bit whimsical, but it really does apply to anybody that grew up in the U.S. in the 1960s. This guy would carry a trademark. All the bullets in his gun were silver. And as the saying would go, you could solve the problem with one silver bullet. So what does that mean in performance tuning? There are no silver bullets for performance tuning. It usually means events that lead up to poor performance, or rather, it is an accumulation of bad events. I call it death from 1,000 paper cuts. Thank you for your time.